Welcome to my YouTube video focusing on the elements of art, shape, and form. This is an intermediate lesson. You'll need paper and pencil and a ruler or straight edge. Let's have some fun. Hi, this is Laura Houston, and I'm going to show you an intermediate drawing lesson that goes with the elements of art, shape, and form. And before we start, I just want to remind you that a square, the two-dimensional flat square, would be considered shape, whereas the cube is considered form because form is three-dimensional. So I thought what we would practice doing today is starting with two-dimensional shapes and giving them the illusion of three-dimensional form. So let's start with the square, and what we'll start with is we'll draw a line going back in this direction. Now I'm going to do the same thing here, but I want this line to be parallel, so watch what I do first before you draw. So these lines are parallel. Even though they're at an angle, they're parallel to each other. And then I'm going to connect them with a line that is parallel to the top of the square, like this. There. And then we'll draw another line going back that should be parallel to this line. Going back. Maybe take it a little bit further. So those are parallel. This is parallel to this. And now we'll draw one going straight up and down that's parallel to this vertical line. Like that. Okay, now to make it look even better, we're going to imagine that our light source is coming from this direction. We've done this before when we drew the cylinder. So I'm just going to draw a little sun there. That's your light source. So if this was your light source, this would be your darkest side. So we're just going to shade this in. And if I were to take more time, I would do that a little nicer. The top would be the lightest shade. And then we can do a soft shade here on the front of the cube, but not as dark as this side over here. And if you don't want to see hard lines, you could turn your pencil like this and shade like this. And this could also be done by, if you had a crayon, just pressing very lightly with the crayon. And there you have an effect. So we started with a flat square and we made it look like a three-dimensional cube. Let's try the same thing with this triangle. So we can take this triangle and our goal is to turn it into a form. In order to do that, the form would be a pyramid. So I'm just going to take a line going right from here and I'm going to angle it back. This one's easier because we only have to do one side. Then I'm going to connect the top down to this. And you can use a ruler if you'd prefer to use a ruler to get exact lines. And now again, if our light source was coming from this direction, I'm going to shade this side the darkest. I'm just going to go up here and shade it in. This will be the darkest. And the front, actually let me make this a little darker. And then the front facing us, we would just do a light shadow. And the shading helps your new forms look a little more three-dimensional, okay? And there we have a pyramid. So this was a cube. We started with a square, and this is a pyramid. And I have a little more time. Why don't we draw a rectangle? Let's see. So here's this. So here we have a rectangle. Oops, let me make sure I'm still... Okay, so the rectangle will be very much like the cube. So we'll just have a line going back here, but a little shorter. And another line that's parallel. And I think since this is a long line, I'll try to connect it with a ruler. Let's see. And then this one going back here should be parallel to this line, more or less. And then the straight line, the vertical line that I draw, will match this one. It'll be parallel. Even though they're at angles, they can be parallel. And again, if this is the light source here, this will be the darkest side over here. The top would stay light, and then the front, we can do a light shading right here. And here we've made our rectangle into it. We've taken and turned it into a form. If this is our light source. So I'm going to do one more thing that you might like. So how can you use this for fun? So how about, like, think of your name. How about the first letter of your name? Mine's pretty easy. Mine's an L. So I'm going to draw an L over here. If you want to use a ruler, you can use a ruler. But we're going to draw your letter with block letter form. Okay, so there's an L. Let's see. I want to take this out a little bit more. Okay. Let me erase this part right here. Okay, so we're going to use the same technique as we did with the cube. So I'm going to draw going back here. And then this line will be parallel to this line. And do it again here. And bring one back here that's parallel to this. Bring this down. And then shading, again, if the light source were over here, I would shade this, the darkest. And then I'd shade the front. So this is something fun that you can do if maybe you want to practice writing your whole name, or just focus on learning your favorite letter, or the letter that is the beginning of your name. So what we've done here is we started with shapes and we turned them into forms. And forms either have a three-dimensional illusion, or they are really forms like sculptures, real 3D. So I hope you have fun doing this at home. Thank you very much. If you want to learn more, click on the link in the description below the video. As always, I'd love to see your art, and I might feature it in one of my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.